Influencer marketing is so powerful, but it's so misunderstood. How do we work with someone else who already has an audience to build our business? Well, I invited my friend Neal Schaffer here, and that's what we're talking about coming up next. Well, today I'm excited to have my friend Neal Schaffer here, and we're talking about influencer marketing. Neal, tell us a little bit about what you do.
Sure. Well, I work in the industry that we call social media marketing or digital marketing. So I am an author, written a few books. I do a lot of speaking. I actually teach executives digital marketing at a few universities, Rutgers University in New Jersey, the Irish Management Institute in Dublin, Ireland. I consult with businesses. I have my own agency, and I consider myself an educator. I just want to help businesses really leverage the power and the potential that digital has for their business.
So influencer marketing, there's so much that we don't understand, but it's so powerful. What is it that we need to know as business leaders?
So influencer marketing is probably the number one topic that I get asked questions about. There's a lot of buzz about it. And equally, it's the most misunderstood concept really in marketing today. And I think we have to take a step back that companies, and we were talking beforehand, we're now in the second decade of social media. So this is very much a mainstream, mature platform. And companies obviously try to leverage social. But the fact of the matter is that social was made for people, not for businesses. Businesses are always at a disadvantage, right? Just as consumers don't want to look at ads, social media users don't want to look at ads on their network. They don't want to engage with logos. They want to engage with other people. And what we've seen over the course of a decade is that those who have influence in social media, for a variety of reasons, number one, the algorithms just favor people more and more, right? So for most companies, organic social media almost doesn't exist. It's all about paid. And therefore, social media becomes a form of paid media. It's like a Google ad, right? You get more targeting options with social media, but it's pay to play. So influencers are exciting because they truly give brands the ability to incite word of mouth marketing. And that was the original promise of social media back in the day, that, hey, we invite fans, they see our content in their feed, they engage, friends of fans see it, and content goes viral. Well, that doesn't happen for businesses, it still happens for people. So it's really about treating social media. It's a very, very, mind shift, I would say, and that's why I'm writing a book on it called The Age of Influence that'll be published by HarperCollins, March 2020, be on the lookout for it. Sorry for the pitch there. But what's important to understand is the mindset of treating social media not as another advertising and marketing channel, but treating it as an amazing arena for collaboration. So instead of talking to yourself, right? It's reaching out to other people and saying, how can we collaborate? This is a great example of a collaboration. Doing research for the book, I realized there are 15 different types of influence marketing campaigns. One of them, especially for B2B companies, is the content co-creation. It's doing exactly this. It's reaching out to influencers in your industry, right? It's saying, we'd love to interview you. We want to have you on our podcast. We want to fly you into the studios and do a video with you because we know if we make you look good, you're probably going to share that to your audience. And there are incredible case studies of these sort of roundup blog posts. We asked 9 experts, or the one I have in my book, the case study, we asked 80 experts about productivity. And a few weeks later, this organic content not only got all these backlinks and engagement, but also ranks number 4 for productivity tips in Google, right? And this is just a blogger in Norway who reached out to people, made the effort, and collaborated. So when you look at it that way, and obviously influencer marketing for B2C, everybody knows about that. I think we're B2B, maybe not a lot of people know, but it's also events. If your company does events for customers, conferences, this is a great way to invite influencers out, pay for their travel, right? Another case study is Adobe Summit. It's actually the Adobe Summit that I went to, I think 2017. I was one of many influencers they reached out to, and the sum of mentions of Adobe Summit using the hashtag of the top 6 influencers, the impressions totaled like 20, something million. And if you look at, an eCPM of like 20, I forgot what the number was. I mean, that's like millions of dollars of brand awareness marketing that these influencers provided them. And remember, it's coming from a person, not a brand, who have their own unique trusted network. So there's obviously a lot of depth that we can talk about influencer marketing to go way beyond, this few minute video. So I hope people will look at that or reach out to me or, reach out to you, Jayson, as well if they have any questions. But it's really a powerful, untapped market. And I think the companies that get it and see social media as a way to collaborate with others and use others to spread their voice are going to be the ones that are successful. The ones that keep self-promoting and just advertising in social. With paid media, you might find some results, but I think at the end of the day, you're going to be lost in the feed. And paid social will become more and more expensive with time, with more and more competition.
And we're seeing that now. I mean, the ad costs are just out of this world compared to when we all started, like you said, 10 or more years ago. So influencer marketing, B2C companies seem to have figured it out to the most part. But as a business leader in a B2B company, how do I get started with influencer marketing?
Well, I think it first of all, with B2B, it's very, very interesting because with B2C, when you're going direct to consumer, it's obviously a lot more intuitive, right? With B2B, you need to look at your entire sales and marketing funnel. So how do you get customers? Well, normally you have a sales team. So then you begin looking at using the employee as influencer. So there's a term called employee advocacy that's been around for some time, and I think it's failed at most companies because they didn't treat the employee as influencer. So instead of saying, here's great content we want you to share, it's actually having conversations with people in your company that are already really active in social, especially your salespeople. And I do a lot of social selling training. I'll tell you, every big sales organization, if you have a 20-person organization, there's usually 2 or 3 people there that are pretty savvy at this stuff. And as the demographics shift with more and more younger people, with the millennials now the majority of the workforce, more and more people are using social, quite savvy, right? Even on LinkedIn. So that is the number one thing you want to do is reach out to those internally or those where it generates a great ROI, which normally isn't sales, right? The other one is look to your partners. You probably have, resellers, distributors, other ecosystem partners. How can you collaborate with them? Find the ones that are already doing social well, right? And then start to look at, it might be tech bloggers, it might be others in your industry that work at other companies. They're not brands, but they're individuals within companies that have a robust personal brand. How might you be able to work with them? So, the first stages of influencer marketing begin with influencer identification. And most often brands, they go the wrong way. They reach out to people that don't know them, don't like them, and therefore it becomes very transactional, right? Instead, start with those that have the most brand affinity for you, which are your employees, right? Start there. Then the people, your fans, your followers, your customers, your ecosystem partners, those are the next step. And those are people that already know you. And in many ways, they're not an employee, but the livelihood of their business is still tied to you. Only after that should you reach out to people that don't know you, hoping to convert them into becoming your brand ambassador.
I think that's a great first step. I've been telling my clients for a long time, take your internal experts. And typically the average person has somewhere between 500 and 1,000 connections on LinkedIn. So take your internal experts, do a video like this with them, have the CEO interview your internal experts, and then use the CEO's audience and your internal expert, followers to push that video out. And you can get 1,000 views really easy organically using that video, and use that to test the waters, and then, like you say, take that expansion plan that Neal just gave us from there. Neal and I have been working together since 2011. I think I started blogging on it was a whole different website, which is now nealschaffer.com.
Correct.
So make sure you check out Neal's blog to learn more about influencer marketing. Check out my blog posts about video and all the other great people that are there. It's been interesting to see how some of those people have become big influencers in the industry. Some of them, I saw one of them at a conference we were both at a couple of years ago, and she didn't even recognize me. She got so big.
Yeah, we've had some influencers. Yeah, but the interesting thing about video per se, since I know a lot of people watching this are about video, people are thinking, well, video, it's all about Snapchat snaps and Instagram stories. The funny thing is, the younger the generation, the more they rely on YouTube as a search engine. So video is actually more important than ever. And remember, when you're publishing the social, the idea that you can natively upload these things to Facebook, LinkedIn, which is powerful, which is the most, you're going to get the most impressions with that type of content, but also that it lives on YouTube, I think makes video even more important today than it's ever been. In fact, I want to get my own. I want to become a YouTuber as well. And I think every company should try to become a YouTuber. And every company should try to yield more influence, because the more influencer your company becomes, the more that influencers will want to work with you. At Social Media Marketing World, I was talking to one of the leading providers of these do-it-yourself sort of video creation apps that are out there. And she was saying that they were finding when they put basically a summary of the blog post, right? Like a 2-minute summary with going, usually blog posts like lists of things, right? So, number 1, number 2, read the whole thing. And when they were embedding that in the blog post, it was showing increased SEO juice for those posts because there was an embedded video, obviously replicating with the same keywords, but it's also something they can share in social. Instead of just sharing a link, you can actually share a video. So there's a lot of things you can experiment with video. I mean, obviously this is about influencer marketing, but let's not forget about video as well. So hopefully you'll leverage both going forward.
Yeah, well, and I think it ties back to that the most powerful way to work with an influencer is with video because it builds that human relationship faster. And it wasn't my intention to talk about that, but it does seem to have turned into it, and it really does fit. So
it does, and for a lot of CXOs, the immediate pushback on influencer marketing is it doesn't seem authentic. Well, you know what the most authentic way to bring an influencer voice to your customers is right here is video. Can't hide. Well, we have these fancy lights that make us look good, but other than that, right, it's authentic, it's real, and that's what people in social media, that's what they want. They want the behind the scenes, they want the real, they want the raw, and this provides it.
Well, thank you so much for joining me today and talking about influencer marketing. If people want to learn more about you, maybe check out the book. Where do they find all that stuff?
It's Neal Schaffer wherever you are. I'm even on Snapchat, but don't expect to reply immediately. But nealschaffer.com, Neal Schaffer on Twitter. My podcast is Maximize Your Social with Neal Schaffer, and hopefully we'll be back talking on camera again soon.
I hope so too. Well, thanks again for joining us. I'll make sure I link to Neal's website in the description below. Thank you for watching this week's video. I invite you to watch more videos by clicking the box on your screen, and I'll see you in the next video.